God really put in my heart that I should use my talents and help as much people as possible as we navigate through this crisis. And because of that, and because of my obedience, I am here today to share about my book, How Do You Lead with Care? And how do we ensure that we are the best versions of ourselves as we positively impact the lives of others? I have been asked on many occasions, Aka, where did you get the passion and the love for people? And it dawned on me, I got it from my mom. You see, my mom was a teacher, and as a young adult, I would go to school with her from time to time. The first day, I was absolutely speechless. As we drove into the compound, Mommy stopped. She spoke to the security guard. Then as she drove, the parents would blow their horns and wave at Mom. As she reached closer to the classroom, the children ran and gave her a hug. And I realized that that was Mommy's normal. On one particular day, though, it absolutely was different. As we drove into the compound, Mommy stopped and she spoke to the security guard. She then reached to the back seat, picked up a brown bag, and gave it to Mr. Jones. They exchanged pleasantries and we drove off. As we drove off, I said, Mom, what did you give Mr. Jones? She said, Aka, I gave him a meal. I said, why did you give him a meal? She said 4 months ago, Mr. Jones shared that he was in some financial difficulty. And on that day, my mother decided that she would give Mr. Jones a meal every day that she came to school. I asked, how did you know that he would appreciate it? She said, I didn't initially, but his reaction spoke volumes. He said, Mrs. Ali, thank you for listening. And thank you for showing that you care. Wow. At the end of the conversation, Mommy told me 2 things that I've kept with me. Care is a verb. It's a doing and a telling word. And care is only care when the person receiving appreciates and acknowledges that they feel cared for. I have used those words of wisdom as my anchor as a leader. Everything that I do, everything that I say, my manner, how I articulate my thoughts, when I'm coaching persons, when I'm training, when I'm giving feedback, even when I'm holding persons accountable. In this book, The Master Guide to Leadership Through the Lens of Care, I have shared my 20 years of experience. It's a practical book that is an easy read that shares with leaders, young and experienced, how care, when rooted in everything that we do, it is magic. We have to be leaders that we would like to follow. So I share with you, show care. I would just like to add, in the book, when I wrote about the book, I spoke about 6 mandates. As leaders, it's critical that we care, we show care with action, because care is a verb. It's a doing and a telling word. So how do we show our team that we care? It's by how we treat with them, how we speak to them. What is our tone? What is our pitch? The other 2 mandates I spoke about is consistency with accountability. How as leaders are we consistent? Do we walk the talk? And how do we first hold ourselves accountable so that we can hold others accountable? And lastly, I spoke about competence with the right attitude. What competencies do we need as leaders to be the best version of ourselves? We have to ensure that we are continuously learning and growing. And what is your attitude? Are you a leader that you would follow? And as John Maxwell says, he says that your attitude determines your altitude. And as a leader, you take your team as high or as low as you are. And in this book, I really tried to share simple reading about how could we be the best version of ourselves. And I've used my 20 years of experience just to do that. to navigate through the journey of being a caring leader. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.